This is question 38 for the practice final. These kind of questions have two different ways of being solved. This is a square root divided by a square root. First thing is, with any square root in a fraction, you don't want to have a radical in the denominator. So don't worry too much about this. We're probably not going to have it just based on the fact that this question is in this section of the test. However, the two ways of doing this are to reduce and then root, or root and then reduce. It pretty much doesn't matter the order at this point. What I like to do is I like to say I have a square root of 147 over 48, and then break them down. Well, again, I have 147 and 48. The easier number to do is 48. So what times what is 48? Is there a perfect square? 48 would be, the smaller number would be 3 to try to divide. Well, actually, it would be 2. But in this case, I'm going to use 3 because I know that 16 works in this case. If you didn't know that 16 worked in this case, you could say that 48 is 2 and 24, which is 2 and 12, which is 2 and 6, which is 2 and 3, crossing off the dividers. You could do it this way. And then, of course, we have all these guys here, which comes out to our 4, because 16, the square root, is going to be 4. So this is one way of doing it. And since this broke down to a 3, guaranteed, this is going to be also divided by 3. So 3 times what is 147. If you just go ahead and divide it, you'll get 49. 49 is a perfect square of 7 and 7. So moving over here, we can say that since we have a couple of perfect squares, this one is 4 times 4. We have a perfect squares here and here. The 7 will come out. The 4 will come out. However, those 3's, since they're in the numerator and the denominator, this 3 cancels with this 3 and completely goes away. And then we have our just 7/4. The other way of solving this that some people like to do is they will take the numbers and turn them into radicals first. So you'll visually, it's just a visual difference. They'll say that the first one is the square root of 3 times the square root of 49 divided by the square root of 3 times the square root of 16. Again, this is more visual than anything else, but if this makes sense to you, go ahead and do it. This is your test, not mine. At this point, we can say, well, square root of 3, square root of 3. I already know that 49 is 7, 16 is 4, and I get the same result. So it depends on how you want to do it. If you don't know how the numbers break down, use the number tree. If you do know how they break down and you do know your perfect squares, go ahead and do the perfect squares. All right?